All right, Chag Sameach. All right, so we begin Shemini Atzeret. We begin our holy day, our 8th day festival, which is going to complete our fall festivals in this cycle. And we start with our children's presentation, which is, to me, it's my favorite part of the whole thing. I mean, I love the children's presentation. Now, bear in mind, it's not just them performing for you. This is what they learned all week. They're going to be sharing with you, their teachers are going to be sharing with you what they did all week long. And so that's going to be really exciting for all of us to see just how much they got out of this whole time we had together this week, right? Now, I'm glad that all of you that are here. All of you that are watching who are not here because you're under the weather, we have you in our prayers. All of you that are online watching that should have been here, that aren't here because you party too much, shame on you. We'll attack that pretty good later, promise you. Okay? I think we have a prioritization problem. I was up later than almost any of you almost every night, and I was here every time for everything. I promise you. Okay? Now, yes, there's probably somebody that beat that, but then you weren't here for everything. Okay? And so we just got to work that out. But all of you that are here, I'm glad you're here. The weather ended up being perfect. We've done this in the morning where it's been really hot. We've done it in the morning where it's been really cold. This is perfect. So we got perfect weather for this. And so I hope you're all excited and ready to see this presentation. So we're going to begin, yeah? We're going to begin with me bringing up the YMTOI director of all the programming that we do for our children. That's Rebbetzin Julie.
Terrific. Good morning to our MTOI family, and happy Shemini Atzeret to you. Chag Sameach, yes. For those of you who are watching and don't know who I am Rebbetzin Juliana Berkson. I am the YMTOI director for MTOI. On behalf of Rabbi Steve and myself, I would like to welcome everyone to our live presentation of Sukkot 2024 YMTOI program. Yes. I say this every year. It goes by entirely too fast. I think it's because we have so much fun with your children. So today we are going to show and tell the parents and MTOI Mishpachah what our youth have been doing this week at Sukkot. Our theme this year was taken from Proverbs 6, 16 through 19. In these verses, we are given insight into 6 things that wise King Solomon told us Yahweh hates, and the 7th is an abomination to him. For simplicity, I dubbed this theme the 7 things Yahweh hates. On behalf of all the YMTOI team, I want to thank our MTOI parents for your diligence and commitment in raising your children and bringing them up in Torah, and also for entrusting your children to us this feast. So without further ado, I would like to welcome our snack coordinator, Delia Crumbaker, to the stage to show and tell you about the snacks that our Katan A and Katan B children got to enjoy this feast. Thank you. Perfect.
Good morning, Chag Sameach. I want to begin by thanking Rebbetzin for allowing me to work on the snacks again this feast. This is my 7th feast helping and my 4th actually being the snack coordinator. I was honored to work with Robin Shepard and Vera Linton and Martha Bishop this time. As Rebbetzin said, the theme for this feast was the 7 things Yahweh hates. Proverbs 6, 16 through 19 says this: "These 6 matters Yahweh hates, and 7 are an abomination to him: a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands shedding innocent blood, a heart devising wicked schemes, feet quick to run to evil, a false witness breathing out lies, and one who causes strife among brothers. You might be thinking, I know these, but how in the world do you make a snack for these? All of our snacks were representing evil things Yahweh hates, so we had to get creative. Next slide, please. Class 1 was a proud look. Since lions run in prides, we chose a lion with raised eyebrows for our proud look. This lion was a slice of Colby cheese surrounded by a mane of Cheez-It crackers. Cheese Whiz made his muzzle and the raised eyebrows, and almonds were his eyes and nose. Having never worked with Cheese Whiz before, I soon learned that it's as hard to draw with as a can of whipped cream. So we may rethink this ingredient in the future, but we made it through the 50 snacks we needed that day. Next slide, please. Class 2 was a combination of a lying tongue and hands shedding innocent blood. We needed to keep these evil things light, so we chose a snake with a long, lying tongue for the first one. He was made of grapes on a wooden skewer with a strawberry for his head. We gave him blue eyes with decorating gel and a long, forked strawberry fruit roll tongue. Then each child was given a clear plastic kitchen glove filled with 2 cups of buttery organic popcorn tied with a string. This was a very filling and very appreciated snack for the kids and the adult helpers. For the next 2 classes, we opted for a cookie shaped like the theme. Instead of purchasing store-bought cookies, if we could even find any, we decided making them was a better option. However, I am a crumb baker, not a baker. We needed someone who had much more talent in that area than I have. And many of you from Beth Shalom are very familiar with our super generous cookie maker who shares her cookies of all kinds with us during Oneg each week, Miss Sarah Brackett. I showed Sarah the shapes we were after, and she said, yep, I think I can make those. With her cookie skills and her patience with the cookie cutters, she created both of our next 2 snacks. Class 3 was a heart devising wicked schemes. Sarah made us plate-sized chocolate heart cookies that were amazing, and we added candy eyes, a white frosting evil smile, and black frosting for the evil eyebrows. The kids, of course, loved these, but I'm not sure the adult helpers loved the elevated energy the kids had from the snack. Next slide, please. Class 4 was feet quick to run to evil. So we had a left and right foot cookie and opted for green frosting to make the evil little toes running on the plate. Again, Sarah made our perfect butter cookie feet, and the kids got another shot of sugar energy in this snack. Next slide, please. Class 5 was probably our biggest challenge. How do you depict a false witness breathing out lies? Rebbetzin came up with a fire-breathing dragon, which was perfect, except how do we make 50 of them? So we used a vegan Rice Krispie treat we found, which was low in sugar, and then promptly dropped it into green sugar, of course, to make it into our dragon heads. Orange mango fruit strips and red strawberry fruit strips made the fire coming out of his mouth along with his crest. Chocolate chips were his nostrils, and he had large candy eyes. This sweet treat may have gotten us in a bit of trouble with the teachers and helpers, but you guessed it, the kids loved it. Next slide, please. By class 6, we had to make nice with the teachers and adult helpers, so we went with a sugar-free snack. What better way to depict one causing strife among brothers than a couple of snarky faces from the Angry Birds game? So our snack was 2 different kinds of Baby Bell cheeses that we had the kids peel on their own, and we laid paper copies of the Angry Bird faces on them that were cut out at the craft party. Then these quarreling birds were resting on a nest of pretzel sticks. Creating the snacks at the feast has become a game of sorts, with having to get the kids to realize each class theme, making sure they have enough food to have it qualify as a snack, and getting 50 of them done in the 1 hour we have to get them ready. We've started to treat it like our own feast version of a Chopped episode. When we finish before our time, we step back, throw our hands up, and say, "Time's up, step away." Thank you again for such a fun way to volunteer as part of the feast.
Weren't those snacks amazing? I think we hit it out of the park every year. We just get better and better. Okay, so for our next presentation, we are going to have the Torah Tots. This feast, I was very blessed to have Mrs. Deanna Payne step it up as our Torah Tots teacher. Our regular teacher, Mrs. Catherine Brown, is in her 9th month of pregnancy, so we thought, okay, we'll give you a break. Deanna was a helper in a previous feast to Mrs. Catherine Brown, so we said, we know you can do it. And she worked alongside Mrs. Michelle Robertson, who has continued to be a helper for several feasts now, alongside one of our previous Catan A teachers, Mrs. Shannon Hersey. So she had a great team alongside her. So help me in welcoming up to the stage Mrs. Deanna Payne, Maura Deanna Payne, and Mrs. Shannon Hersey, who will be telling us what the Torah Tots children did this feast.
Chag Sameach. Right, my name is Deanna Payne, and I had the privilege of teaching the Sukkot 2024 Torah Tots class. This class is the 3 to 5-year-olds. First, I would like to thank my amazing teaching assistants, Miss Michelle Robertson, and Miss Shannon Hersey. I absolutely could not have done it without these ladies. I would also like to thank the parents who brought snacks, provided water, and for those who volunteered to help yesterday and today. And I would like to thank the Torah Tots themselves. They're so eager to learn and have fun. They made this feast truly special. Right? The theme for our class was the same as for Catan A and Catan B, which is the 7 things that Yahweh hates from Proverbs 6. For our first lesson, we talked about how Yahweh loves unity and hates one who causes strife among brothers. Our lesson and craft came from Genesis 37, where Joseph's brothers throw him into a pit and then pull him out to sell him to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. Our activity to help make our lesson memorable was kind of like musical chairs. We used a hula hoop as our pit, and the children walked around in a circle to music, and when the music stopped, whoever was in the hula hoop was out. All right, for our second lesson, we talked about because Yahweh is truth, he hates a lying tongue. Our lesson in craft also came from Genesis chapter 37, where Joseph's brothers lied to their father about what happened to Joseph. For our activity, we played the telephone game to show how easily lives can begin. The children whisper a phrase to each other, and the phrase goes around the circle, and by the time it goes around the complete circle, it's changed entirely. For our third lesson, we talked about because Yahweh created all life, he hates hands that shed innocent blood. Our lesson in craft came from Exodus chapter 2, where Pharaoh commands every Israelite baby boy to be thrown into the river. This craft had lots of fun embellishments like glitter glue, cotton clouds, and craft paper grass. For our activity, we went outside to the playground and the children took turns hiding baby Moshe and finding baby Moshe. Right? For our fourth lesson, We talked about because Yahweh is peace, he hates feet that are quick to run to evil. Our lesson in craft came from Exodus chapter 32, where the children of Israel make a golden calf. So here we have Moshe coming down the mountain with the tablets of stone. When we flip over Moshe, he's breaking the tablets, and the children of Israel worshiping the golden calf. For our activity, we played red light, green light. It's a game where the children need to have patience to wait for their instructions. All right. For our fifth lesson, we talked about because Yahweh loves humility, he hates a proud look. Our lesson in craft came from Numbers chapter 12, where Miriam and Aharon speak against Moshe. Okay, sorry. All right, so we have the esteem of Yahweh, which is the cloud, and Miriam and Aharon and Moshe coming to the tent of appointment. For our activity, we played the Say Something Nice game, where we sat in a circle, played music, and passed around two soft toys, a puppy and a kitty. And when the music stopped, the person with the puppy had to say something nice to the person with the kitty. We played this over and over until everybody had a turn. All right, for our sixth lesson, we talked about because Yahweh is truth, he hates a false witness breathing out lies. Our lesson in craft came from Numbers chapters 13 and 14, where Yahweh sent 12 spies to search out the land of Canaan. So in our craft, we have the 10 spies who didn't trust Yahweh and were scared. And we have Caleb and Yehoshua who trusted Yahweh and said, let's go. All right, for our activity, we hid toy fruits outside in the playground, and like the 12 spies, the children ran around the playground finding the fruit. And for our seventh and last lesson, we talked about because Yahweh loves a pure heart, he hates a heart devising wicked schemes. Our lesson in craft come from Numbers chapter 16, where Korach, Dathan, and Abiram go against Moshe. Our craft shows how Yahweh split the earth open to swallow them up. And for our activity, we played Simon Says to emphasize the importance of following directions. All right, well, that's all for me. Please help me in welcoming the Torah Tots to the stage for their performance of Pop, Pop, Stop. All right, we're going to do that one more time. That was a warm-up.
Yes, it's great. You know, Catherine, sometimes I feel like crying too when I'm up here. I do. Anyway, I'm getting better. Doing the announcements has really helped, I'm telling you. It was either sink or swim. I chose to swim. Anyway, I really think they did a great job. To be that young and be up on stage. Although if you were here yesterday, they were shouting. So this is the quieter, gentler version. For those of yeah, we might have to secretly record the rehearsal and have it as backup. All right. Well, next we were going to be going on to Katan A. It is a little bit high for me, I'm sorry. It's like in my nose. That's okay. Thank you, son-in-law. You do got me. Nice. Okay, so this theme of the 7 things Yahweh hates is actually in its 3rd cycle of us revisiting it. So the first time we did this was in 2013 when my daughter was only 9 years old and a Katan student. Back then we did not have Katan A and Katan B, we just had Katan. And then we revisited in 2019, and you can find that presentation recording on the YMTOI website under Feast and see a lot of these children that are now either Gadol or older than Gadol in there. They were so cute. So she was barely a Gadol student at that time. Today, I am proud to say that my daughter is now a Katane teacher in the YMTOI program. Please help me in welcoming to the stage our two Katane teachers, Maura Brianna White and Maura Sam Davidson, who this is his first time being a teacher, and he did a fantastic job. Thank you so much.
Good morning, Mishpacha. Chag Sameach. Firstly, I'd like to say that it was wonderful being able to see your Katan A children. They are the 6 through 8-year-olds, and they got to make connections in our class. They got to be filled with joy with all the things that we did with games. And also we got to play games with not only the Katane children, but all of the classes got to be together at some point. So I thought that that was just a beautiful way. I'll wait a second. It was a beautiful way for them to all be able to be together and connect. And so our topic was the same as the others, as she said, the 7 things Yahweh hates. And so for my class, I did a little bit different take when it came to the craft. I wanted them to be able to visualize something that is not really so easy for them to understand at this age. But we definitely made it something that they could kind of visualize and see. So starting with day 1, we went over a proud look. And when talking about a proud look, at first, the children weren't really sure what that meant. And so I decided to show them by looking at them in a way that seemed like a proud look. So for me, I was looking at them like this. Like, if the camera's not on me. I was like that. And they all were like, oh, you're looking at us like you're all better than me. So they immediately knew that they thought the proud look means that you think that you're better than everybody else. And so I also asked them if they knew what the opposite of pride was. And Constantine said, humble. Being humble is the opposite of pride. And we also talked about the word hate, since it's the things that Yahweh hates. And Caden says, Yahweh hates what is evil. It was like, whoa, he connected that. And so we told them that a proud look can hurt each other. And so so Alice said, hate is something you really, really, really don't like. And our story for that day was Nebuchadnezzar, the prideful king, and how he was humbled. And the kids immediately connected that when I was looking down on them, it was the same thing that Nebuchadnezzar was doing. And he became like a beast of the field. And with our craft in a second, it'll show that what you do on the inside can become what you are like on the outside. And so for our craft for this feast, I decided to have them build a monster, as he showed. And this is just to have them visualize that when we're ugly on the inside, we can become ugly on the outside to Yahweh. And they're like, oh, yeah, he looks disgusting. And so the proud look, we had them do for the eyebrows. I also made them note that the eyebrows look angry. And so we had them cut a feather and glue on little pieces to make it look fuzzy. And then our game for that day was called Umbrella Tag. And so this game taught the concept that Yahweh protects us like an umbrella. And so in the game, we had a helper hold an umbrella, and during the tag game, if you run underneath the umbrella, you could not be tagged. So you were protected while you were under the umbrella. You only got 10 seconds to be under it. Some kids had a really smart strategy. They would just hover around the umbrella and then switch on and off. And the kids, they didn't get tagged. They were very smart for doing that. And so, yeah, basically the point for that is that if they step out from under the umbrella, they're no longer protected from the rain. And like in the story of Nebuchadnezzar, he had no physical covering from Yahweh because he decided to do what he did. And then he had to live like a beast of the field. And in the story, it showed that he was rained on. He was treated really badly from the weather because he had no physical covering. So I think they really got that. And then we also had weird body parts for them to play with every day. So at the beginning of the day, I had them all close their eyes. And for this day, it was the eyes. And if you want to show it, yeah. And they really feel nasty and slimy. But I wanted them to guess which body part we would be talking about each day. And they really thought that this felt weird. But they they really got to see, like, these are going to be, like, monster body parts. All right, next is day 2. We did the lying tongue and hand shedding innocent blood because we actually had a lot of connections between those two. And so when discussing a lying tongue, I wanted the kids to understand that there are 2 kinds of lies, which they were like, huh? And so I asked them what they thought it was at first. And Maggie said, if somebody finds their birthday present, you have to lie to make it a surprise. And I was like, that is a good example of a kind of a good lie, or when you hide the truth. And I also explained that this is not the kind of lying that Yahweh hates. So, like when the midwives protected the babies, that was the good kind of lying. And then we wanted to discuss what the bad kind of lying was. And so in our story, we went over Adam and Chava and the Nahash. And his purpose of lying was to cause harm. And so, and by doing so, they ended up disobeying Yahweh, which of course they realized that was not good. So we also mentioned that the Torah is truth. And I asked them what they thought truth meant, and they said it's the opposite of lying. So when your parents tell you to clean your room, you do it and you try your best. So that was Alice. And so what we wanted them to understand is that if Yahweh is truth, he hates lies. And so for our craft, we had them do a tongue made out of sandpaper so that it's rough, so that they could feel that a lying tongue is not, it doesn't feel nice, so it's not good. And for hand shedding innocent blood, I'll go ahead and show the craft for that. They did the hands, and they had to paint on red puffy paint. So it's like shedding innocent blood, dipped in blood. So for that day, for hand shedding innocent blood, I asked them what command of the 10 commandments would this be breaking. And they all started to say, do not kill, which I had to explain to them that there's a difference between the commandment that says do not murder versus do not kill. And so some of the kids, they didn't understand at first, but I did say that murder is with bad and intentions that are not, Yahweh did not tell you you could do it. He did not instruct you. Killing is something that Yahweh has instructed, or sometimes if you're in the military, you're protecting the country, that kind of thing for self-defense. So murder is taking a life without instruction. And we also discussed the word innocent. And so innocent is like how we talked about with the midwives. They understood that the baby boys, like baby Moshe, they were innocent. So that's something they understood. And the reason why we joint lying tongue and hand shedding innocent blood is because we told the kids that by shedding innocent blood through your words, you can do that, and you could be saying mean or hateful things, or you could be bullying other kids. And that's another way of hand shedding innocent blood. And so for our story for that time, we went over the bloodthirsty Haman. They really enjoyed the visuals on this one. And obviously Haman had such hatred that he wanted to destroy an entire people. So that definitely helped them to understand. And for the game that day, we ended up joining Katambi and Gadol. So I'll have more Jessica explain that later, because it was a lot of fun. We also got to participate. Anyway. Okay, so then day 3, we went over a heart devising wicked schemes. And right away, I asked them what devising means, and Caden was like, multiplication? So obviously I was like, no, not math. We had to explain to them that devising and scheming is with bad intentions. So you're planning something with bad intentions. And we told them how important it is to control their thoughts because the thoughts can lead to an emotion, which can lead to an action, which usually is devised in the heart. And so along with that, we also shared how they need to be set apart. And Constantine said, set apart means special according to Yahweh. And then we also showed them a visual representation of a wicked heart, a giant one that Katambi will show you later. And Alice said, the heart has black things in it, so that means it's dirty. And I said, yes. But in Matthew 5:8, it said, blessed are the clean in heart, because they shall see Elohim. So we needed to compare what is good with a clean heart, and then the wicked heart is, in our craft, it's dirty. So it shows that we need to be clean. And so our craft here, the heart, it doesn't look very happy. I told them, does it look happy? And they're like, no. So this is the wicked heart in the monsters, in the monster's body. And then for the story that day, we went over Daniel and how the men plotted against him. And we had a couple key words that we wanted them to pay attention to. They were jealous. Their emotions led to scheming against Daniel, and so it led to them doing something bad and trying to get Daniel to be in the lion's den. And then again, we did another game of Katambi, so they will explain that later. Day 4, we went over feet quick to run to evil. For this day, we talked about the 2 greatest commands, and a lot of them remembered one of them from the Vahafta, which good job them. But we talked about mostly the second one of loving your neighbor as yourself. And I asked them, how do you do this? Do you know what this means? And Caden said, we need to treat each other with respect. That's perfect, 100%. And Kaya also said, treat others the way you want to be treated, which is exactly what I was looking for. And we also talked about how it's not always easy to do this, especially when our feelings get hurt. And so in our story, the children of Israel danced around the golden calf, and the kids got to see how easily we can forget, and they forgot how Yahweh had done all those things for them, and they immediately quickly ran and danced to a new God. They turned away from Yahweh. And the second story we went over was Jonah, how he ran away from Yahweh, or tried to run away from Yahweh, and that was also feet quick to run to evil. Our craft for the day was the monster's feet, and we just added some black puppy paint dots because they don't look very nice. They look kind of ugly. So that's kind of the point, is that they can see that this is not what we want to look like. The game that we did that day, we joined Katambi, but I got to create or help create the game. So it's called the gem game. And so we had buckets of gems, but then we also put lots of other things in there. We put distractions, and some of the distractions were all the body parts that I'm going to show you in a minute here. So we put all of you can show them. We put all of the 7 things Yahweh hates into the buckets. So they had to get out all of the distractions, all of the junk, and then quickly run them back and leave us just with the gems. The gems represent Torah, and we need to be able to leave the Torah, leave the good. And so this was difficult for them, really difficult, because if they had a cup and they scooped any of the gems out and ran it back, they had to dump all of the stuff out and try again and keep trying until only gems were left. And there were a lot of stuff in there for them to get distracted by. And if they moved too fast, hence feet quick to run to evil, they usually messed up. So it was a relay style, so all the kids would run up, scoop, and then run back, and then the next kid would go. But if they scooped the wrong thing, they had to start from ground zero. And a lot of them had to start back after they had already filled the bucket with most of the bad stuff. And then we also did red light, green light, because in scripture it says, restrain your feet from every evil way. And we did a giant game of red light, green light. And it was a little frustrating for some of them who got really close and had to run back. But it was good to also show them that they need to have self-control. Day 5, we went over a false witness breathing out lies. I pointed out how there are 2 things of the 7 things Yahweh hates that pertain to the mouth. And so I told them that must mean he really takes it seriously what we say and what we do with our mouth. And so they at first didn't understand that there was a difference between the lying tongue and a false witness. But I explained to them how the lying sometimes can be used for good, but a false witness is always bad. It's never used for good. It's always used to harm others. And they all were like, oh, there is a difference. Like, they started to get it. And so one big one that we discussed is gossip, breathing out lies. And so they really got to understand. And one of the words that we used in our vocabulary was malicious after they all said delicious. They all thought I said delicious. None of them knew what the word meant. So I explained to them that it means to deliberately or intentionally harm. And so this ended up showing them how they're like, hey, so this one could lead to you doing a lie, to having a wicked heart. So they realized that all of the body parts and all of the things that Yahweh hates can happen together, and they're very connected. So I think that was really good for them. And then for our story, we went over the 10 spies versus the 2 spies. And in this story, we got to show how only 2 had a good report. The rest of them were afraid, and they decided to speak to everyone a false report. And so that was really good for them to understand. And then for the craft, this is really great. So I was thinking, how do you represent like the snacks? They were like, how do you represent breathing out lies? So I was like, what if we got a balloon, cut it in half, and because you blow into a balloon, and we wrote the word lies on it. And then just a little cotton ball to make it look puffy. But so yes, the monster is breathing out lies. And so the game that they did that day was telephone, like the Torah tots. And so we gave them kind of ridiculous things to say. The one of them that we remembered was silly sisters sing songs. And at the very end, it ended up smelly socks. And so that's not even close. So it really showed how miscommunication can happen, especially with gossiping. And day 6, we went over hand shedding innocent blood. And this class was very important because it had to do with wrong word. We went over strife among the brothers, sorry. And this class was very important because it has to do with how we treat each other. And so we talked about how this one is an abomination. And they didn't really know what that word was originally. But Constantine said, abominations are something no man should do. And Caden said that it's really disgusting to do abominations. And we also asked them what they thought strife meant, since it's strife among the brothers. And during our story, Serena remembered that the story of Abraham and Lot showed how strife was them fighting over the land, and then how they solved that by separating. Our craft for that day was actually a good representation because the whole monster itself represents strife. But we wanted to have them be able to create a good example. So we have a girl and a boy, and then in their hearts it says nice words like gentle, kind, instead of the monster's like ugly heart. And then just to show some of the ones that the kids made, they kind of made it their own, which I really loved. So they added extra things like eyelashes and blush, and then a little slanty smile. And this one has lots of colors on it. They add a little crown. Very cute. Because I know originally they were like, are we going to make a good boy, a good girl? I was like, yes, we will. But we want you to understand what the bad one looks like too. And so their game for that day was birthday lineup, and they had to figure out each other's birthdays and then put each other in order. And it showed the kids how frustrating and confusing strife was because they were not getting in the right order at first. And then the helpers played the game, and they got organized really fast. And that showed them how communication and unity helps to avoid strife. Well, that was all for me. It was really a pleasure, and I just want to thank Moray Sam and Miss Gabby and Miss Valentina, and obviously our coordinator, Miss Sarah Beth, for all the help that they did. And it all contributed to them having a wonderful feast, and they got to learn a lot. And now they're going to tell you their memory verse and get to sing you a song. So we're going to give it up for Katan A.
All I've got to say is, attention, attention. They scared me. Great job. Great job, Katane, and all the helpers for today. Okay, they're filing into their seats. So before I bring up our Catan B team, I want to give a special thanks to Maura Jessica Tucker. And the reason that is I had games planned, but she wanted to do her yellow thing, and she gave the game so much more life. Mine were more blue and structured. As you imagine, hers were not. So I've kind of completely lost control to this yellow woman, which is okay. She does a great job. She really does, and I approve of everything. I want you to know that the whole team pours themselves into your Catan B children, but she really, really prepares for this. I mean, she starts looking at games and things to do, and her creativity is so poured into it, and she really loves them, and she affectionately calls all of them her babies. So please help me in welcoming up Maura Jessica Tucker and our Catan B craft coordinator, Mrs. Selena Stevenson, to the stage.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm already nervous. Stop it. Yeah, it's good. Thank you. Okay, Chag Sameach, everybody. Well, Catan B, did you have fun this feast? That's right, okay. Well, first, I want to thank Rebbitzin for this amazing opportunity, and I definitely want to thank my helpers, Danielle and Selena and Grover, and all of the parent helpers. Thanks for letting me put you in costumes and put you through all the things I put you through. And then also, I wanted to thank Ashley Condon because she made these really cute books. This one is the boy version, and then this one is the girl version. And they're so simple to use. The kids actually loved them, and I loved them because it just made my life easier. So, okay. This class, I wanted to do things a little different, obviously stay comprehensive, and make sure the kids were getting the material that they could understand and they could relate to what we were learning. And then, of course, we always take things a step further because it is Catan B. So for a proud look, we introduced the Hebrew word ayin, which is the eye. And then we did a skit for Ezekiel 28, chapter 2. Ezekiel chapter 28, verses 2 through 4, and then 10. And it was about a man that had so much pride, and he had his heart lifted up. And then because he thought that he was Yahweh, which we talked about, that saying, like, whenever you're proud and you're boasting about yourself and not paying attention to Yahweh, you're basically saying that you are Yahweh or that you're above him in some way. And when you choose to do what you want to do versus what Yahweh tells you to do, you're putting yourself above him. And then the skit was really great for that. So the parent helpers and one of Selena's sons, actually both of them, they pretended to be prideful. And then we had the strangers coming from afar to beat them up and drag them away. And that was really funny. The kids really connected with that. We did also talk about how Hasatan is pride and choosing the ways of Hasatan versus the ways of Yahweh, how you could easily slip into a prideful space without knowing. And then we talked about Proverbs 16:18, where it said pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before fall. And then for a lying tongue, we talked about Lashon, which is tongue. And of course, we all asked them, do you remember anything that Rabbi talks about with Lashon? And they're like, Lashon hara. I think Judah got that one. But then we talked about how when you're doing Lashon hara, just like it says in John 8:44, that you're of your father, the devil, Hasatan, and you're bringing yourself to destruction and evil by your mouth. Excuse me. And then I actually had some of the parent helpers go through some examples of like Lashon hara. And we talked about, because it's Lashon Hara is evil speech, of course, and it was the same thing for false witness, breathing out lies. But Lashon Hara and lying too is like sometimes you could be jealous of someone, or you don't like them, or your friends don't like them, and then you join in and you start saying bad things, and they may not even be true. And even if they are true and you're saying bad things about someone, it's still Lashon Hara. So we wanted to make sure we were clear on that distinction. Then we moved into lies a little bit more and had the parent helpers just show some examples of lies, like to escape punishment, to make yourself seem better or bigger than who you are, to avoid getting in trouble, to get someone else in trouble, and things like that. So then for hand shedding innocent blood, we talked about yad, which is the hand. And we went through Luke chapter 23, verse 47. And that was when Yeshua was dying on the stake and the soldier was saying that he was innocent. And we talked about how sometimes you can plot against innocent people, or you can join in when other people are talking evil about someone who's innocent. Then we talked about lo tirtzach, which is you do not murder, versus lo taharog, which is you do not kill. And we talked about murdering versus kill. Because sometimes when in the examples that we see in Scripture for them going to war, Yahweh gave the instruction for them to go and slaughter a whole city. So we're saying that wasn't breaking that commandment, do not murder. And then we talked about how if it goes against leadership, then that's actually murdering someone, and then you're actually breaking Torah. And then for a heart devising wicked schemes, which I can't wait until later when I tell you about the games, because that one's my favorite. So we talked about the heart, and then we brought up something else Rabbi said, because I always try to connect the things that Rabbi says for the children, and it does help them because they always now listen to what Rabbi's saying, so just in case I have a question. But we talked about when you're devising wicked schemes, it starts in your heart with all of your thoughts and your emotions, then it gets into your mind, and that's when you start devising that wicked scheme, and then it goes into your hands, and that's when you take action on that. So we wrote that on the board, but then we talked about how Yeshua's heart was obedient and peaceful and clean. And we talked about different ways to clean out your heart from all of that mess. We showed some really great examples of that. And then for feet, quick to run to evil, it was really great because we talked about regel, which is your feet, and we gave some examples of what that's like. And we talked about how someone could lure you to evil, which parents of Katanbi, talk to your children, because I said, well, what if someone tries to lure you, like in a van with candy? They're like, if there's candy and Wi-Fi, we're going. And we were like, no, absolutely not. So have a conversation with your kids. But then we talked about your friends. We're like, well, what if your friends are like, hey, we're going to go bully this person, or we're going to go steal something? Are you going to join in? Are your feet going to be quick to run to evil? So it was really good to see that. And then for a false witness, breathing out lies, we talked about pech, which is your mouth. And we talked about how typically that gets someone in trouble. So it's like if someone says, oh, you stole my goat. And the person's like, no, I didn't, but they really didn't. You're lying on them. So you're causing them danger and evil. And we talked about Rabbi saying that evil is causing danger and suffering and harm to someone else. Then we talked about how sometimes when you breathe out lies about people and you gossip and you tell tales about other people, that sometimes it doesn't even sound the same. And of course, we did end up playing telephone for that, just so they could see, like, when you say one thing to someone else, the way that it comes out after person like 10 is completely different. We also talked about Rachel, which is a talebearer, for causing strife among the brethren. And we talked about how very easy that is. And one of my favorite examples was the Holy Day calendar, how that causes so much strife. And we also talked about how sometimes it doesn't even matter. Sometimes we argue and fight over things that don't matter. And with everything that's been going on, it's just so much better to love on your mishpacha and to support them and to be there for them. So I'm going to talk more about all of this with the games, but for now, I wanted to let Selena go ahead and show us our crafts.
Okay, we want to see the craft. So we did kind of a notebook folder sort of thing, and I chose, we had two. We have the little boy and we have the little girl, and I chose to leave the boy on there because I've got boys. So the kids all got their own kid to customize. They customized the face and the hair and the shoes. And this little heart, they actually stuck it in a slit in the pocket and glued it on. And then we have each one of the aspects here pointing to the body, like the proud looks pointing to the eyes. And we have our verse. So that is the front page. And they had a good time customizing that. You'll see it in the slideshow. Okay, so this is a proud look. And on all the pages, we have our Hebrew words. So you open it up, and there's the Hebrew, and then there's the English inside. So all the pages have that. On this one, we decided, since last feast we did the Beatitudes, we included Beatitudes and Me-attitudes. And on each one of the pages, we have a title. And then we have a little slogan, and the kids are going to tell you about that a little more later. So this is a proud look. And then a lying tongue. This is not a dinosaur, just so everyone knows. Not a dinosaur.
Not a dinosaur. Oh, stop.
This is the Nakash. So he was the first one with the lying tongue, and they got to put a little tongue on there. Not a dinosaur. Okay. And then this is hand shedding innocent blood. This took up 2 pages. So we have Saul, King Saul, and he is throwing a spear at David. And I don't know if you can see his face, but it's just really great. And then, we really do appreciate the people, the women that come to the craft prep party. Miss Janet had a really good time coloring the toothpicks with a silver Sharpie. That was my favorite part. And then, we've got the Hebrew here. Miss Jessica already explained those to you. So now we have a heart devising wicked schemes. And we have a face. And since Rebitson and Miss Betty made this, most of these are girls in here. That's why I put the boy on the front. So this was the girl profile, and then there was a boy profile. So we have Proverbs 23:7, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So we have this heart, and then you raise it up, and we have aspects of a pure and clean heart, and then we have aspects of stinking thinking. So that is coming out of the profile there. So that is a heart devising wicked schemes, and we have lev, and that's the Hebrew for heart. Okay, and then this is a feet quick to run to, or not a feet, oh my goodness. I did the typo, and then we had to replace it in the book. I kept typing a feet quick to run to evil. And then I keep saying it. Okay, feet quick to run to evil. Okay, so we have Joseph and his brothers. This is a lot like the Torah Tots craft, so he just kind of goes down the well there. So there's that one. And then they actually had a really good time with this page. This is a false witness breathing out lies. So we have good lips here, and there's all these words that are aspects of good things that come out of your mouth, like acceptable and sweet. And then there's a bold letter. I don't know if you can see that, but and then the bold letter in these words spell out blessings. And then we have the dirty mouth, and they got to color the dirty mouth. You'll see those pictures later, too. They really like coloring that dirty mouth, Miss Vera. And then we have aspects of, unruly and sharp razor, and these bold letters spelled out cursing. Sorry about that. And then on this side, we have a cryptogram with Psalm 39:1. I have said, let me guard my ways against sinning with my tongue. Let me guard my mouth with a muzzle while the wrongdoer is before me. So they got we filled this in, but they got a blank one. And here is the key. So there's a red arrow pointing to the right, and that's A. Anywhere there's a red arrow, there's an A. So the kids really liked this. So we may have to make more. And then the last aspect is one who causes strife among the brothers. So we have a rotten tree with seeds of discord, and we've got words like gossiper and instigator. And we have rotten fruit. Some of it's left over from the fruit of the Spirit, but I had Miss Vera draw a rotten etrog because I thought that would be great for Sukkot. So we have a rotten tree, not a dirty tree. It's rotten. And then we have a good tree. And so we have, words like trustworthy and encourager, and it says fruit of one accord, and they get a little girl or a little boy, and they're sowing seeds for the good tree. So, and then we've got our verse, see how good and how pleasant it is for brothers to dwell in unity. And they all knew where that came from, so that was great. And then we've got the back cover. And so I think Miss Jessica already said we try to include things that are in past lessons. So this says, so now let us hear the conclusion of the matter. Hate the 7 things Yahweh hates. Do the 8 Beatitudes. Grow in the 9 aspects of the fruit of the Spirit, and put on the whole armor of Elohim. These things should be a mirror that we look in daily to examine ourselves. So we have this lovely mirror that Miss Vera drew and Miss Olya so carefully cut out. It's beautiful. And so they all got that, and they got to put gems on there. And that is it. That is our craft.
Okay. And now Katan B is going to perform a song for you, a song.
No way, not gonna do the things Yahweh abominates. No way, he sees right through it. Not gonna do what Yahweh hates. Don't get too close. Planning how to get your own way. Forget to ask, don't bother to pray. It all blows up and just gets worse when you mess with the king of the universe. No way, not gonna do the things Yahweh abominates. No way, he sees right through it. Not gonna do what Yahweh hates. Walk so proud and act real tough. Start all kinds of nasty stuff. Telling God I'm smarter than you. Beats the things you better not do. The world out there is full of lies. The favorite sport is compromise. Slam down those who stand for truth. Breathe out gossip, falsely accused. No way, not gonna do the things Yahweh abominates. No way, he sees right through it. Not gonna do what Yahweh hates. Your schemes are just like fancy art, covering up a slimy heart. You could be a track star, medals on your neck, race to the pack till your life's a wreck. Take innocent lives with bloody hands, strike the maker's loving plans. Stir up hate between your brothers, that one's worse than all the others. No way, not gonna do the things Yahweh abominates. No way, he sees right through it. Not gonna do what Yahweh hates. No way, not gonna do the things Yahweh abominates. No way, he sees right through it. Not gonna do what Yahweh hates. So watch your step, don't end up hurt.
Okay. Good job, Katanbi. So I'm going to go over the games that we did in our class now. If you guys don't mind. It won't take long. So for a proud look, there is a game that I created called Leave Pride Hanging, and it was really cool because it was like a live hangman. This feast, I wanted to do everything live because it would be fun. So I had two models, which were Selena's sons, Luke and Jesse, on each sides of the scoreboard, and then I gave the kids some really tough words like hubris and pompousness that they had to try to guess with the hangman, and every time they guessed a letter wrong, one of the boys would have to put on a garment or an article that showed more pride, and then once they finished the word, if they guessed whether it was a haughty word or if it was a humble word, then we allowed them to take all the rest of the costumes and dump it all over the other kid. So they had fun with that. And then, here we go. So for a lying tongue, there was a game called Lying on Legends, which was really great. Even Rebitson joined in, and she wore a costume. That was so cute. So it was 2 truths and a lie, but Bible Legends edition. So we had like Leah, who was Rebitson, and then we had Rachel and Yaakov and Moshe and King David, which was really hilarious because Mr. Gabriel was King David, and while he was doing his, the kids were a little disruptive. He was like, silence. And so, but we had 2 truths and a lie. They got to guess that, which was really fun, and Katan A joined in. For Hands That Shed Innocent Blood, we played a game called Defend the Innocent, which again, the live theme. So we did Capture the Flag, except the flag was a Katan A student. And we did have rules. They couldn't push over or, yank anyone around. And the Katan A student had like a handkerchief tied to them. So they got into teams, and then they were going against each other for that. That was actually really fun. And then for A Heart That Devises Wicked Schemes, that was my all-time favorite game, Untangle the Evil. So we got Gadol, Katan A, and Katan B in there. And if any of your kids came home and said they got tied up, it's true. So we tied up all the Gadol kids pretty elaborately, again, Gabriel. And then we let the Katan A and Katan B get into teams and then race to untangle them. And we did explain for each one of the games the lesson behind it. And it was great to be able to talk to Katan A, B, and Gadol about why we played that game. And I let them know, when you start devising wicked schemes against your brethren, you're entangling yourself and all of that evil, and it takes Yahweh's word, it takes his Torah and dedication and repentance in order to untangle yourself. So that was really great to have all of the kids, except Torah Tots, sorry. It was great to have all of them in there for that game. And then for fun, Brianna and I allowed them to tie us up. And they had a great time tying us up and trying to untie us. And then for Feet Quick to Run to Evil, we had a game called Run to Do Good. And that one, it had like big inflatable, but they weren't inflatable, but like these big foam shoes and an obstacle course. And we let Gadol play that game too. That was great. They had to have the big shoes and like get through that obstacle course in order to get the balls to and from. And then for the game for lesson 6, A False Witness Breathing Out Lies, we did do the telephone game. And there was one more for A Proud Look. We did the hula hoop game where we had everyone hold hands and try to get a hula hoop over and under. And that was very humbling because once we let them struggle with it, we showed them how easy it is to do. And we did it in like 10 seconds, all the adults, and the kids were so mad at us. And then we did for Strife Among the Brethren. We also did like Uniting Brothers is the game where, again, I tied your kids up, sorry. I bound them together by their wrists and their ankles, and then they had a spoon and an egg, and they tried to get through an obstacle course together. And then we did do Tug of War, a big one with Katan B and Gadol, and it was against the parent helpers and myself and Danielle, and they beat us, and they were super prideful about it. So what we decided to do to get them back, I'm not going to say the adult that suggested it in case you get mad at him, but he said, since they're being so prideful, why don't we ask for a rematch? And when all of the Gadol and Katan B kids pulled back, we let go. So we did, and they were very upset with us. It was hilarious. Okay, so at this time, we're going to let Katan B just show you a little bit of what they learned. They're going over some themes. And since, again, my theme for the feast was everything live, instead of having a poster board, they are going to have human poster boards, live ones. So all of the adults and teenagers that volunteered for this, I definitely want to say thank you to them because it wouldn't be possible without all of your hard work. So without further ado, here's Katan B doing their skip.
Because Yahweh loves humility, he hates a proud look.
Because Yahweh is truth, he hates a lying tongue. Liar, liar, pants on fire.
Because Yahweh created all life, he hates hands that shed innocent blood.
Because Yahweh loves a pure heart, he hates a heart devising wicked schemes.
Because Yahweh is peace, he hates feet that run quick to evil.
Because Yahweh is truth. Because Yahweh is truth, he hates a false witness breathing out lies.
Because Yahweh loves unity, and he hates one who causes strife among brothers.
Thank you, guys. Woo! Oh, so everybody say it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Go.
Because we love Yahweh and we hate the 7 things Yahweh hates.
There we go. They were saying because we love Yahweh, we hate the 7 things Yahweh hates. All right. Thank you, guys.
That was fun. Great job. Okay. So next we're going to have Gadol come on up. They're our last class. They're last but not least. So I want to bring up our Gadol teachers, Moray Wayne Brown, and as well as Maura Monique Edwards. This is her first time joining us in the Gadol class as a helper, and they are going to share their experience with Gadol this feast and have a few of the students come up and share what they've learned this feast. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Chag Sameach. Man, you think this will get easier every year, talking to you guys. Kids are way easier than this. All right. The first thing I would like to do as a teacher of Gadol and a parent to many children that I have in the program, I want to thank Representative Rabbi for this amazing program and how it helps and reflects to our children of everything that we love dear to our hearts of Yahweh. Okay. I also would like to thank my wonderful assistant, Miss Monique Edwards. Okay. This is our first year, and she did very well. Okay. So as you know, the theme of Sukkot was the 7 things Yahweh hates, and his goal we do things a little differently. We are the last stop before they come and go into the tent with Rabbi. So obviously we want to try to teach them how to look for themselves in Scripture. So what we do is we dig a little deeper into the verses and the Hebrew meaning of things. We help them understand and get ready for the next step in their lives. So we discussed that the 7 things Yahweh hates is meant to show us what a wicked and poor man and how the characteristics are not benefit to us in life in general, even if they decide to walk this out or not. We also discussed how each characteristic is contrary to Yahweh's nature and approval. It is not just that Yahweh doesn't like it, it is he hates them because it is completely incompatible with his being. We then discussed, with that context, on the character of how character is developed through the choices and the decisions we make, and how each choice strengthens or weakens our character. And with that, we add to how to recognize their character within themselves and make the necessary adjustments to change or not, or if they want to change.
I think I'd be remiss if I didn't say that at some point all of our goal was survival. Kind of joking, but when Wayne asked me to think about a goal that I really had, and that was just to foster a place of authenticity. And I'm not going to call individuals out, but there were quite a few of the young people that I feel really embodied that, and I want to express my sincere appreciation for sharing, being authentic, being open, and kind of sharing those ugly things that we all need to work on. So yeah, hopefully that it prompts us all to, I know a lot of the time we think about the young people and we're always trying to change them, but I hope that through even some of the things you've learned from the other classes, that as adults we take a look at ourselves, because we are really the ones who are responsible for mirroring those good characteristics that Yahweh loves. So just like Miss Jessica said, we really need to work on that ourselves. And so without further ado.
Okay, so we decided for our presentation, what we're going to do is, instead of coming up here and going through the list of the separate things that Yahweh hates, we decided to give our young men and women some sovereignty on themselves. We kind of want them to come up and speak to you what resonated to them throughout the classes. As each one comes up, they're actually going to talk to you guys about how it related to them in a way that they can understand. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to our teens coming up.
Shalom, Mishpocha. So my name is Peyton Brown, and this is my takeaway from the Gadol class this feast. The main subject I've decided to focus on is the proud look, the first of the 7 things that Yahweh hates. The reason I chose this topic is because I believe everyone has a bit of pride here and there. For example, having too much pride or ego to take away from rabbis' teaching or counseling. Also, not being able to submit to a manager at work because our ego tells us we're better or that we know more automatically. For example, Isaiah 14:12-15 tells us Ha-Satan had thought in his heart to rise above Elohim and that he was too good for him, otherwise known as pride and ego. In conclusion, the main lesson I took from this class is life might be a bit easier when I recognize that it's not always about me and that I can always learn something new. Thank you.
Okay, shalom. My name's Afia, and the topic I chose was pride. I chose pride because I find myself judging other people a lot, but why do I think I'm in the right to do that? Pride tells us that we are better than we are and that we deserve whatever it costs. With pride, we determine what's best for our lives and that we have little want of anyone's input or help, which could ultimately cause our own downfall. I've often thought that since I've done something right once before, I'm like an expert on it, and like when I mess up and someone points it out, I get frustrated at them instead of myself. But now I understand that I'm not perfect and there's a lot of stuff I can do wrong. I'm slowly understanding it is wrong to be prideful and that there's a difference between pride and confidence. And I can always do better.
Hello, my name is Ellie, and the first topic I have picked is a proud look. I've chosen this topic because I can relate to it the most, and I'm sure you guys can too. But how I relate to this topic is that at many points in my life, I have thought I was better than everyone else when I wasn't. I have learned that pride tells us that we are better than we are, and that we deserve whatever we get handed. I know that in my life, I have had moments where I think I deserve more than I have. Pride causes us to elevate to the place of God, and the thinking pride creates is that we think we know what's best for us. But ever since I've learned what pride really is, I've become more humble and aware of my actions. I also picked another topic, the lying tongue. It is one I can also relate to. I relate to it because I used to think lying was okay, and I thought it was harmless. I used to just blow it off. I thought I could just tell the truth later. But in class, I have learned that lying causes pain and suffering. You might be thinking, how could lying cause pain and suffering? For example, let's say you lied to your parents about something that you would have gotten in trouble for, and your sibling takes the blame and gets in trouble and said that would hurt the other person, and that would be causing pain and suffering. So we shouldn't lie just to benefit ourselves, because we'd be doing it for our own selfish gain, and that's what I've learned in our Godot class this year.
Shalom, everyone. My name is Dennis. The topic I have picked is the second thing Yahweh hates, a lying tongue. The reason I have picked this topic is because this is something I'm most positive everyone has done at least once in their life. I know I have, and I'm not proud of it. One quick example that we talked about in class that correlates to lying is laziness. Laziness causes us to lie in certain situations, such as lying to a friend about their appearance, lying to them to avoid hanging out with them, and so on. As we went through this class, I thought to myself, why do we lie? Our selfishness comes into our body, telling us to lie mainly for our own benefit, bearing a weight on our shoulders that can be at all times hard to carry. Applying this from day-to-day life is easier said than done. Don't lie. To tell my friend to go be honest to his mom or dad about his lies is easier to tell him than to rather do it. Not until I convince him, or if I were in his shoes, not until I convince myself, all these lies I've told will start to take a toll on the way I can even speak to people.
Shalom, everyone. My name is Aurelia. For my topic, I chose shedding innocent blood. Specifically, I chose the difference between murder and kill. I picked this topic because it really spoke to me, and I really enjoyed learning about it in class. It was really informative. Anyway, going on to the difference between murder and kill. Murder is essentially ending another person's life with the intention of revenge, or maybe without commandment, which ties into killing. Killing is instructed ending of a life for good cause or reason. Despite these definitions, you can murder another person in different ways. You could murder a person by spreading rumors, hurting their feelings, bullying them, and talking smack, etc., etc. In class, we learn that instead of doing all this immature stuff, that we should talk it out with your brother or your sister with the rabbi present. Doing this in a mature way, instead of talking badly about others or spreading gossip, would be much better, in my opinion, than murdering in your heart. I believe that if you lose a brother or a sister, you'll still do the right thing. But I personally know what I'm saying isn't easy. I'm guilty of gossiping and murdering others in my own heart. I'm not going to lie at all. When I'm gossiping, it's fun and making fun of others, not necessarily making fun of others. But I'm sure everyone's gossiped before, and most people do it with the intention to impress others or gain new friends, or just in general because they feel like it, or that's how they are, and that's a personal thing. But in my own experience, the guilt I feel after I do it is really bad because I hurt another person, and yeah. Maturity when this comes to this topic is hard for me, and I'm really thankful for this class because it really helped me out. Thanks.
Shalom, everyone. My name is Andrea, and I'm going to be talking about two of the things that Yahweh hates: a lying tongue and hand shedding innocent blood. I picked these two because they were very interesting and eye-opening to me, but also because they relate very well to each other. I'm going to start off with hand shedding innocent blood. In class, we came to the conclusion that hand shedding innocent blood means killing or injuring someone who wasn't guilty with their works or actions. We then talked about murder versus killing, and decided that scripturally, murder is done without being told to by leadership, but killing has instruction. An example of murdering someone could be with your words or emotionally. You could murder someone for revenge, by taking advantage of someone, by slander, or by shaming. The second thing that Yahweh hates is a lying tongue. One thing that comes to mind for me is you can murder someone by destroying their reputation with rumors. From my experience, rumors are mostly false, meaning that the people spreading them are lying, which relates to a lying tongue. Proverbs 18, verse 21 says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those loving it eat its fruit." Thank you, and I hope you've had a great feast.
Great job, Gadol class. I was very impressed. Great speeches. So you probably noticed we didn't play any slideshows in between the class presentations, but we do have one slideshow that we have compiled for you. We call this Together Time. So that was the theme for Jessica's games, as she mentioned that she had Katan B play a lot of games with Katan A and Gadol. So we try to represent that in this video presentation that Selena made, and she did a fantastic job. We had to sort through thousands and thousands of pictures and picked as many as we could without overkill, but we're going to go ahead and run that slideshow now and take a look at Together Time. Thank you. Wasn't that wonderful? Okay, as we're wrapping things up, I definitely have to thank a lot of people. I'm going to do this as quickly as I can. Usually I have you stand up, but on account of time, I'm not going to have you stand up. I really think, as the ones that I mentioned today, everyone probably already knows you because you're always helping and serving. I want to thank my YMTOI class coordinators, Sarah Beth Ott for Katan A and Betty Olson for Katan B. I want to thank, my YMTOI class teachers team, the Torah Tots team, the Katan A team, the Katan B team, and the Gadol team who you saw today. I want to thank my snack team, Delia Crumbaker, along with Robin Shepard and Vera Linton, who stepped in, along with Martha Bishop, to help her this feast. I want to thank Ms. Shira Wendling for all the YMTOI songs. Katane sang an older one. As I said, if you look back at 2019, you'll see that the Katan B children who were Katane sang that song. I want to thank my photographers. Really terrific job. Carrie and Olivier and Frederick and Eddie. Thank you so much for following the classes. I want to thank the YMTOI medical team for being in our classes to make sure the children were taken care of. They did bump into each other a few times under Michael Long. I want to thank all the class parent helpers who came in throughout the week. Definitely want to thank Selena Stevenson for all you do. There's too much to list today, but especially for the craft and notebook pages and the slideshow that we just saw. And Miss Vera Linton, again, for her beautiful artistry that you saw in everything that we do. My Bet Shalom ladies who came and prepped all the crafts and notebook pages ahead of time, thank you. This afternoon, Katan B will be playing a Jeopardy game based on the 7 Things Yahweh Hates, so I definitely want to thank him for creating that Jeopardy game. He does that every feast, and it's a lot of fun. The kids really enjoy it. I want to thank the AV team under Marty and Tommy Stevenson for today's presentation filming. All of you that came out to help with that, thank you. You did a terrific job. I want to thank our international and USA Mishpachah that hosted their own feast because they couldn't be here and contributing the pictures to our slideshow. We really value them immensely. I want to thank all our remaining feast teams working together alongside us. The administration team who helps us, the kitchen team, the medical safety, sanitation, Shamashim and training team, and leadership and their wives for all that you do. Last but not least, my husband, Rabbi Steve, whose support and supervision I value immensely, and helping me to become a better wife and YMTOI director. So at this time, I want to run a thank you video, and I hope you enjoy it. And then Rabbi will come up to end.
Amen. Amen. Fantastic. Awesome. Now I don't have to do any of my thank yous later during the service because everybody was already in there. So everything that was on there, I'm with it. Okay, good. Add my thank yous to that. All right, good. Excellent job. And by the way, Rebitson and Selena, whoever put the slideshow together, you all get your alliteration merit badge. Children, if you know what alliteration is you'll see the way they use the same letters in starting the words. Yes, you all get your alliteration merit badges. Okay, excellent job finding those ways of describing it. There was just fantastic. There were a lot of S's used, yes, but there are a lot of superb and stupendous and silly words, actually, that you can use with S. All right, wow, what a tremendous program. All right, children, especially children, I am so proud of you. You guys did such a great job. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Very proud of you. You guys did fantastic. Okay, and all the rest of you that were in the video, thank you to all of you that especially in this particular presentation, all you who participated in the YMTOI program. Very fantastic. And of course, especially to the director of the program, my wife, Rebitson Julie, who I know you guys all appreciate what she does, but I appreciate on one other extra level, which is that I don't really even have to hardly supervise it. I mean, it's something that when I give it to her, I know it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be in line with what I teach and all that other kind of great stuff. So, I mean, it's just never been an issue for me at all, the YMTOI program. So, fantastic job. Okay? All right, and everybody out there, we do have this program runs all year long, with the Torah portions, okay, the Partial Pearls program. So go to the YMTOI.org website. All that stuff is free for you to use in your congregations, in your homeschooling, or wherever you want to use it, okay? So that's fantastic. All right, so that being said, I want to go ahead and wish you guys a good